Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the Meno Lounge monthly series, not just our regular Tuesday, but this is where we bring on our in-house experts. And today we're talking to our fave, Barb Sobel, our clinical nutritionist, and we're talking about I would make sure I say it right, cardio-metabolic health, and the risks of. So, hi everybody. Let's see if we can grab Barb. Barb, are you hanging out here? This is a big topic. It's February. It's Heart Health Month. We've got to focus on making sure we take care of our heart. I'm not seeing Barb here. Barb, are you hanging out somewhere? Let's see if I can grab you. We were just talking on Slack a few minutes ago, so. Everybody, post your questions, especially on these monthly series with our in-house experts. You can ask questions. We have more time to ask. Oh, there you go. Ask more time to ask questions, so you can drop them in the chat and you can ask Barb. She's a clinical nutritionist. She knows stuff. Everything I know, I learned from Barb.
Oh.
So if
That's a lot.
I don't know it, it's all your fault, Barb. It's all your fault.
Well,
excuse me, but
there's always new things to learn, and I think that's I'm not sure anyone knows it all. Like, right?
I don't think so. I know, I mean, of course, doctors don't know it all because all the controversy around hormones, replacement therapy, etc. But no one knows it all. But especially around nutrition, I find, because it's like what we thought was right. The body is so complex. So, oops, I lost your audio. Where Barb and I are here in the San Francisco Bay Area, we're having major league storms. So if we're wonky today, I see Barb spinning.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
When I was in nutrition school, one of my professors said, we're going to teach you all this stuff, and in 10 or 20 years, it could be completely different. And the most important thing is that you keep learning, right? Because we're learning new things.
We're learning new
things.
things.
We think we should know everything about the body, but we don't.
Yeah. No one knows, but that's part of the interesting piece of it. So that's why we're here every month talking about different things, or every Tuesday.
Exactly.
Shining the light. What's that? What did you say?
I said exactly.
All right, Barb, let's get into it. I'm wearing red today because Go Red for Women was on Friday, but I'm still wearing red. We have Valentine's Day tomorrow. You gotta love yourself, but let's start by loving our heart.
That's a death color on.
You're like, okay, so if you take Barb's advice, you wear red, and if you don't, you wear her black. Wah, wah, wah. It's over. So
it's cold in winter here.
I know it is. Yeah. I know. I feel like I have this pink tank top. It feels like imposter syndrome, but it just went with the red. So
yeah, I like
Barb, this is serious business. I mean, heart disease is the #1 killer of women.
Yeah, and we traditionally think of it more as men, right?
Right.
And I think that so often the symptoms are, we don't notice them in women. They're much more subtle. They're overlooked more. Women don't end up in the ER as quickly, and there can be like dire consequences.
Right. Really, really serious, especially because the symptoms present often so much more mildly. Right. So we just think it's like discomfort, or this, not necessarily, it's not like on TV, you have a heart attack and you drop. No. So it's much really important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I also think, there is, so many women are frustrated when they go to the doctor that they're not really listened to. And I think what happens a lot with women is that they don't always get checked as regularly as they should, because it's sometimes can be a frustrating experience.
Yeah. Well, look at here. Kenya's asking. She said, my doctor said there's nothing for me for my perimenopause challenges. Get a new doctor.
Right. Exactly. So it makes it really hard to want to go and get everything checked and make sure that you're really on top of it.
Right. Yeah, that's so hard. What do we recommend? Kenya, for sure, we talk a lot about going through perimenopause, menopause, postmenopausal, it's a team sport. So you may love your doctor may be awesome. Hey, Christine, maybe, an awesome doc, but they're just not enough for you right now. So you need to add to your success team. Find a local doctor, a different doctor, or hop on one of the wonderful telemed companies that are out there. There's Alloy, there's MIDI Health, there's Evernow. There's so many more options. Go telemed, even our own Dr. Larissa in-house. You can find her at drlarissa.com, I think. To find a doctor that can support you so you don't have to feel stuck with one doctor, with the one you have.
Yeah, I mean, I think a team approach is great. I also think look inside your doctor's office. Sometimes there's a nurse practitioner or another practitioner in that office who can spend more time with you, who's more educated in this field. I mean, I find the nurse practitioners and PAs to be a great resource.
Yes.
And we don't all, sometimes we find them by accident because we go to the doctor and our doctor isn't there or something. So that's something to reach out and talk to your practice about.
It's a great idea. Actually on Tuesday, this previous Tuesday on the Meno Lounge, I had Suzanne Granier, I want to say it wrong. She was a VA doc. Oh, was a VA doctor. So Suzanne, go back and look at our recordings here on my MenoWell on the recordings page. And Suzanne was a nurse. And so we talked about a nurse's point of view on navigating perimenopause. So go find her, and then you can go on her page and go on her website, because exactly what you're saying, Barb, a nurse practitioner, they just have more time and they're willing to share more, and they're probably perimenopausal anyway. So that's an excellent, excellent idea. Okay, let's talk. Do you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I hope my video stays on. It just got really windy. So.
I know. My window's like rattling over here. Let's talk about, I said here we're talking about cardiometabolic risk. Okay, first we better define the word cardiometabolic, because I don't think I've heard it exactly in cardiometabolic disease. What is that exactly, Barb?
So, cardiovascular, heart, we think of heart, we think of all our blood vessels, but it's very much tied into metabolic health as well. So metabolic health, cardiometabolic health. And I really like to use cardiometabolic because that brings in things like insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome into the conversation, and the root causes with of inflammation and changes in our gut microbiome and those increases in belly fat. It's all related. Even things like, we used to call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now we call it metabolic associated fatty liver disease. And you're starting to see that change in the literature as well. And so it's a broader definition. So it encompasses more of us and more, the diseases all in one. And I think really treating them, the preventative things and the diet and lifestyle things are all the same.
So cardio is our heart, right?
Our heart and our vascular system, right? We think with cardiovascular disease, we always think of blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, right? We think of those things.
Okay. So the heart and all the veins and blood and all of the systems that go with that.
And then transport system, right? Yeah.
And then metabolic separately is all of the,
we see things like, if we look at someone's blood markers, we might see high cholesterol, and then as part of that, triglycerides are high. And that's actually looks at some of the sugars in the fats. And so it brings it all together.
Got it. I love that. So, I thought I had turned off all my do not disturb, but somebody
I have a whole bunch of them here too. So, and I'm scared to touch anything.
I know. If you see me doing this,
seeing me, like, I don't want to touch it because then I turn off my sound and all the crazy things.
I know. Especially if you have people in your emergency list, on your phone or your favorites, they always sneak through. But anyway, okay. So if you see us doing this, we're not doing that. We're just swishing away the notifications. So, All right, so cardiometabolic, I think it's such a wonderful word to be familiar and comfortable with because it encompasses all the things that are so important from our heart to our whole digestive system to our organs, all the things. And so I like it.
Yeah.
Let's keep going with that. All right, so why is it so important that especially when we are in midlife that we focus on our cardiometabolic health?
Right. So that's when our risk goes up post-menopause, and it goes up a lot. Women's risk equals that of men. Before that, we have much lower risk of cardiometabolic disease. And that is the drop in estrogen. We see, and because of that, we see that increase in belly fat and that increase in visceral fat. And that's where we really start to see inflammation. We see insulin resistance. We see higher cholesterol levels. We see higher blood pressure. We see inflammation in our bodies. I mean, we all feel it in our joints, all over. And then we also have associated changes in our gut microbiome with that as well. I mean, and we can't really see those, but that affects our cardiometabolic system.
Yeah.
And we're getting more and more evidence about that.
I know.
So,
You know, I always want to bring in those conversations about the glucose monitor because I love it. It's like the window inside your body. But in midlife,
right, it's one of the only tools we have that we can see
on our
what a direct
own.
our
Right.
own thing. Like, what happens when I eat this? What happens when I go move this way?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when I don't sleep? How does it affect my body? So it's a great tool to get that insight and then make changes and see what happens.
I love it so much.
It's really can help you be very proactive.
Yeah. And I like things that we can do ourselves. You know, this is it's like nutrition. We can decide what we eat. That is huge. Exercise. Yeah. We can decide how much we move our bodies or weights we lift. And a glucose monitor is just another way of like having some data that you can decide to get for yourself.
Exactly.
You know, not that we planned on talking about tools today, but I've just been looking at the health app on my phone if you have an iPhone, and it's really good at looking at, of course there's going to be accuracy, 10% here or there, but it's more not to get all focused on how accurate it is, but how consistent that trends over time.
Yeah.
But looking at your heart rate, how low or how high it is at certain times of the day, I think that's really great. And also,
I think another great tool that everyone can get to do at home is a blood pressure cuff. Like, we used to go and do it. I used to see it in the pharmacies and stuff. Yeah. And we don't really have to wait to go to the doctor. It's something you can do very easily at home. And for people who tend to have high blood pressure, if you can test it at home when you're relaxed, you get a much better reading. And then you can go into your doctor and say, this is a trend I'm seeing, or I've always been normal, I'm seeing it go up. Or when you're in the doctor's office and they tell you it's high, you can say, yeah, but when I do it at home, it's this. And then you can watch it accordingly. That's
so smart. Okay, true confessions. Yeah. I have one of those because everyone in my family has hypertension, and I can be pre-hypertensive. So I have one, but I hardly ever use it because I have this story I tell myself. It was like I'm like an old lady thing, like I don't need to take my blood pressure, but I should, So yeah. Fair enough. So you guys all remind me. You can say, Julie, DM me. Did you check your blood pressure?
Exactly. I mean, you don't have to do it a million times a day, but every once in a while, it's good, right? Yeah. You don't want to see it, especially in early postmenopause. You don't want to see it creeping up. Even if it's normal and it's creeping up, that just gives you some information that is something to watch.
You do something about it. Also on that health app, there is VO2 max. Yeah. So that's your oxygen level. And that is a really good one because before, in the old days when I wasn't moving very much, my VO2 would always be lower than normal for my age. What the heck? And and now it's always much higher. And I don't do a lot of cardio. I walk, but I lift weights, and I lift heavy enough that gets my heart rate way up there.
Yeah.
So
And
check your VO2.
with cardiovascular training, even when you're lifting heavy weights, I mean, I get out of breath doing that sometimes. It's consistency that really builds that cardiovascular strength, and it's consistency over time. Same thing with diet, right? It's not the one time that you go eat something fun and your blood sugar spikes, or you ate too much brie cheese or whatever. It's really what you're doing consistently over time.
It's
And,
always consistency,
and
which
it's that
seems boring.
80% of the time that really makes the difference. Yeah.
It's everything. It's everything is being consistent. And you're so right, Barb. And we tend to want a quick fix for this. And, I want to see the results right now, but that's just not what happens over time. All right, let's see. Christine says, does the health app just pick up all the information from the Apple Watch? Not sure. That's a good point. I have one, so, but I know, it tracks your steps on your phone if you're carrying it around. But if you don't have an Apple Watch, look at your phone in the health app and see what
because
are there.
sometimes we attach other apps to it as well, like my Aura Ring feeds into there. So,
or an Aura Ring as well. So find a tool that works for you, but don't obsess over them. We can get so crazy over this stuff.
And that it causes more stress, which it causes more problems. So it's better not to if it's going to make you go that way.
That's for sure. Okay, let's jump into some diet. I know you probably have 5 because we usually talk about 5. 5 diet and lifestyle habits to reduce that cardiometabolic risk.
Right. Okay. So number 1, we kind of talked about this a little bit, is balancing our blood sugar. So that I think that's really important because it is overall, it really helps with our health and with our insulin, and it helps with our energy. It helps keep our weight in balance. And what we really want to do is prevent big spikes and big crashes. And the best way to do that is balancing your plate, anchoring it with some protein, filling most of it up with some non-starchy vegetables, and using the last bit for something that's high in fiber, but maybe has some more carbohydrates. So a whole grain, beans and legumes, unless that's your protein, fruit, starchy vegetables, things like that. And blood sugar is always going to rise when we eat, and it's always going to come down. But we want like rolling hills. We just don't want peaks and valleys.
Right. And so if you want to eat a more starchy carb, like let's just say a piece of bread, then having some fat with it, and some protein with it, then that keeps that spike from happening, right? It will, because your body needs all those things to digest it. So
and it just slows it down having that protein and that fat in there, and fiber. So I always want some veggies in there.
Always some veggies. So I put broccoli on my MenoWell bars. So no, I don't do that.
That's interesting.
I put broccoli on pretty much everything. I put a picture in our family chat of I had a piece of pizza that my younger son had left here. I'm like, oh, that looks good. But I couldn't just eat it by itself. So I had all this broccoli that I chopped up really small and piled it on the pizza. And my family was like, that is disgusting. And I'm like, no, that's how I can feel comfortable eating this pizza.
Yeah. So, I mean, I always say, with pizza, like it's a fun food. A lot of people have Friday night pizza. Can you get extra vegetables on it? Can you start with a salad first? Can you get roasted Brussels sprouts and eat that along with your pizza? So instead of maybe having 3 pieces of pizza, you have 1 and a whole bunch of veggies with it, right?
I love it. That is my strategy. Also, I take 1 piece of pizza and I use a pizza cutter and I cut it in half, so I feel like I have 2.
Yeah, good job.
All the head games. Hey, Angela. Let's see. Oh, we were just talking about glucose monitors before you came on. You know, we are bullish on a glucose monitor.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so balance number one
Yeah.
for
So
managing metabolic
yeah.
risk.
So I think fiber is number two. I think that is key, right? In terms of blood sugar, it helps balance it. In terms of cholesterol and things like that, it helps take the used up cholesterol and helps with our elimination and get it out of our system so you don't reabsorb it where it becomes problematic.
Yeah.
It helps keep us full, which helps with weight control. It helps our microbiome, which then in turn helps with our cardiometabolic health. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say about fiber except start slowly if it's not a big part of your diet.
Right,
Right.
right.
Some people
Fiber,
have some digestive issues, like they just don't digest certain fibers well. But there are lots of them, right? And so there's other opportunities, to find
to
it.
try a different one. But
Yeah.
it is so magical. It's so important. And I notice also as I really have shifted to a higher protein diet, I have to be very conscious about getting enough fiber because it's easy because I'm full,
Right.
so making sure I'm having those vegetables, MenoWell bar is such a great shortcut for that.
Yeah. Flax seeds, chia seeds, some
Blackberries,
nuts.
raspberries,
Yeah,
right?
I love all the berries, super high
Hmm.
in apples, even oats. Like, there's all sorts of things you can add to whatever your protein, like your Greek yogurt or
Barb,
something.
I'm going sideways here for a second. I
Uh-oh.
just saw in a discussion about basil seeds.
Yes.
I had never heard of a basil seed
Yeah,
before as
they're
as
the
an
special
alternative
ones.
to
They're not the
chia.
kind that you would just go get at the nursery.
Yeah,
And it's
not the kind you plant in your garden. Not that one.
right.
Okay, these are
It's kind
edible.
of like Super X chia seeds. They really expand in water or whatever liquid. And they're low in calories. They're kind of fun. They're a little pricey, but they're a great. I love using them to mix things up, right?
Why don't we talk about them? Is it because they're more expensive than chia
And
seeds?
they're just not as available. Like chia seeds, you can find everywhere, right?
Oh,
They're
okay.
not as they take on a little. I feel like they take on more liquid, so they don't have quite as much flavor. But
Mm,
that liquid is great because it's a great way to hydrate
mm,
you. Like it.
mm.
So
All right.
they are kind of fun. Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody, Christine says, I've been having some trouble with fiber. Seems like a little too much, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's really true. People send notes into our customer service about because our bars are so high fiber. So, Barb and I have talked about that. Just have like a quarter of a bar or a half a bar or, whatever fiber you're eating, eat a little bit at a time, but don't give up. Because I
Yeah,
know for
it's
some
low and
people,
slow. Your body will get used to it over time. You just have to go if it's not used to it slowly.
mm-hmm,
And
exactly.
and as I said before, sometimes some of us have issues digesting certain fibers, so we might look to other kinds of fibers to help build up and shift our microbiome a little bit, and then we can have more.
Yeah,
But that's something
it's worth it.
to investigate if you've really tried that maybe something is out of balance in your gut.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, let's see. All right. So that's two. I know you have three
Okay.
more.
A variety of colorful plant foods. Like the more colors, the better. Um, sometimes you'll see lists online. Beets are good for blood pressure or whatever. And really, if you dig down into all those lists, it's lots of different colors of plant foods. And I would consider that vegetables, fruits, herbs and spices, whole grains, beans and legumes. And the more teas, the more variety, the better
Mm-hmm.
for us. It's all those polyphenols, those things that come, the plant nutrients that really feed us bring down inflammation, and it feeds our gut microbiome. You know, we always see things like lycopene, which is in cooked tomatoes. I mean, the more variety, the better, right?
So is there truth to that? Try to consume 30 plants,
Yeah, I've
over
seen studies that
a week.
range between 30 and 50.
And
So
a week or not a day?
different ones a week, not in a day, no way. But
All you'd be doing
use
is
your
eating all
herbs,
day. Right.
right? Use your herbs and spices, and it doesn't have to be um, different varieties of the same thing count as different ones. So if you go get spring mix lettuce, you've probably got 5 in there, right? If you make a curry, and you put a bunch of vegetables in there, you could get 10 very easily, just between all the herbs and spices and whatever vegetables you put in there. So I really, if you're always eating orange carrots, go get the red and white, or the purple and white ones. Mix it up a little bit. Mix up all the different
It's
varietals
like
of
if you
things that you can
get
put.
little cherry tomatoes, you can
Yeah,
get the ones that are the different colors. Do
exactly.
that.
The
I
orange
love that you
ones,
said
yeah.
the spring mix, because that's a little hack to
Yeah,
get multiple kinds versus of just one type of lettuce. And even the little potatoes, you can get the purple and the white. So get the variety
variety
packs, and that way you
pack.
can
Yeah,
mix it
same
up and
with
get more.
peppers. Like, right, the orange, yellow, red, same thing. Yeah, and
Okay, because that seems.
we've talked about this, I think, on every Meadow Lounge that we've done. That spice cabinet is your friend.
I
And
know. Here's
all that
Christine
stuff you
saying,
never use,
right.
go in there and find it.
We told Christine we were going to do a spice cabinet tour in your kitchen, and so she is here right now saying we need Barb's spice cabinet.
And
And
the thing is, it's
insert.
embarrassing. It's overflowing. It's not very well
That's
organized.
what makes it good, Barb. That's
Yeah,
what makes it good.
yeah. But you think of think about like, what is it called? Old Bay seasoning or whatever that has like a million things in it.
Oh, it
That's
does.
awesome. Count all of those.
Oh wow. Oh, that's so. My family's originally from
Yeah,
Louisiana, so Old Bay is a staple in our kitchens.
yeah.
So
So,
I
and
love
that's
it.
how we used to cook, like with a lot of different stuff. And now we limit ourselves for some reason.
That's one thing, I pride myself on simple eating because it's a great way to manage, getting my macros the way I want them to be. But then I
Yeah,
eat the same things over and over, and I'm not getting as much
right.
variety as I want for my gut health too. Even if it's good food that I'm eating the same things all the time.
Yeah. So different colors of the same things help. Obviously, I mean, eating seasonally is great. Like right now, there's lots of kind of hearty bitter greens, lots of orange squashes and things, and that stuff is not so much in the greens are different, and we don't see squashes as much in the spring. So eating seasonally is another way to bring in that variety.
Yeah, nature's saying this is the right time to eat this thing because it
Yeah.
tastes better. You can tell when the grapes aren't sweet, or
Yeah.
this is
Exactly.
the wrong texture.
Right.
So okay, good. So we've got balancing blood sugar,
Fiber,
high fiber, and
plants, colorful plant foods.
colorful plant foods.
Okay.
Okay, that's 3.
Next one is and we don't talk about that much, but healthy fats, especially increasing your omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah.
So the things that we think of in fatty fish like salmon, but they're also in walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, and they really help reduce inflammation, and they help balance the omega-6 fatty acids that we get in meats and things like that.
Really important. And going back,
Really
Angela
important.
said she loves microgreens and sprouts.
Oh
I
yeah, that's a
love
great
it.
way.
Yeah.
Great way. Those are really nutrient dense.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about, I don't eat as much salmon as I would like to, even though I like it. I just don't buy it as much, or I don't like the way it looks in the store. That I don't know. I don't go to the good fish market often enough to get the beautiful salmon. So what do you think about supplements for omega-3s?
Yeah,
That's my approach.
I think a lot of us need to take a supplement. You just want to make sure that it's a quality supplement and been tested. Um, sometimes if you're getting too much, you might get like easy bruising. So just kind of pay attention. I've had that happen before. But for a lot of people, we We just don't get enough, and we have to supplement. Yeah, but an easy blood test can tell you kind of your ratio. And some people don't like the supplements because they say they're fishy.
So, I know, but
sometimes they're large.
They're huge, but I found some smaller ones. Hopefully they're quality, but those things
just have to take more of them. And there's a few liquid ones out there, but I don't think they cover the taste that much. But that's my personal opinion. Yeah. But you know what? Think about smoked salmon as well, right? That's an easy thing that you could add to.
Well, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Smoked salmon, but then I want cream cheese and a bagel. So.
Well, what if you did it with a little bit of Greek yogurt that was much higher protein?
Yeah, that's good.
And like a higher fiber cracker or bread. I don't know. Or in an egg. Like put a little bit in your eggs or something like that.
Yeah, on eggs. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's a good hack. So you don't always have to have fresh grilled salmon. You can use.
Right. And it's not just salmon, it's other fatty fishes. They're not always the most popular. Sardines, anchovies, mackerel, some of those. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say, like a tinned fish makes a really fast lunch.
I know. There's a lot of good things.
And the little teeny fish, where there's the bones in there, you get a little extra boost of calcium. So
I think I'm going to take the supplements. I'm just saying. Okay.
Personal choice. Okay.
The kindergarten
last one
showing. Okay,
yeah, so my fifth recommendation is to stay hydrated, because when we are dehydrated, we see that our numbers for our blood pressure and our blood sugar get our blood values concentrate. So we need to stay hydrated to get those accurate numbers, right? With our cardiovascular health, in addition to energy and, helping that fiber move through, all the other reasons we need to stay hydrated. But we really, if we're dehydrated, we see concentrations of our blood sugar and our blood pressure go higher. And, that's not good. It's a pretty easy fix, right?
Except for, I've noticed, because it's cold, that I had been drinking more coffee and decaf coffee and not my big jug of water, but maybe I just need to get some tea going. And so that when that gets cold, because I'm noticing that I'm not drinking as much water as I normally would just reach for.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, certainly doing a good workout is going to help you drink your water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about warm water. Maybe you put lemon and chia seed in it. Tea is great. I think a brothy soup is a great way to get hydrated. So, this is the time of year we have a lot of soups. Even making a vegetable soup that you have as a snack, I would count that. Or, a chicken soup or whatever in a meal, but something sort of brothy, I would count that liquid in your daily hydration as well.
That's a great recommendation. And bone broth is a great way to add more protein. Also.
Exactly. And calcium.
Yeah. Super good. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to always be just water for hydration. That's the point.
Water or coffee.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even count my coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And Coach Angela said Lane Norton, who is an amazing nutritionist, quite controversial, but really informed. Controversial just because he has his whole way of being is kind of aggressive, but he said that coffee is not dehydrating.
I've heard that it's not. I always learned that it was dehydrating. Then I heard the first 2 cups are not dehydrating, but after that they are. So
I don't know. Don't you have to go to the bathroom after you drink coffee? It just makes me want to pee all day. So know your own body. And then Natasha said, what are the best herbal teas for perimenopause?
Okay, first off is one you love.
That's what I would say.
Right?
The one you love.
The one you love.
Don't do anything you don't love in perimenopause.
You know what? I think a lot of what would calm your nervous system, right? So chamomile, peppermint, something like that, that sounds, that's kind of calming, because a lot of us are kind of stressed. So those would be things I would think of. I don't always do this, but I love to get fresh mint and just pour hot water over it, and get like more of an infusion. It's one of my favorites.
A friend told me about that recently, and I haven't done that yet. I usually get fresh mint as my regular shopping, order. I just always add it because I love the taste of it cut in my salad and everything green. I love putting mint on. But I hadn't thought about that. So I keep forgetting to try that, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds great. Holy basil is another good tea that you can get at the grocery store. And it's kind of, it's sort of an adaptogenic. It can give you a little energy, but it can also calm you down depending on what your body needs. So that's another one of my favorite kind of menopause teas.
Really, really good. Angela says, I love Ticino. Did I say that right, Angela? Teecino. Ticino?
Yeah.
Ticino?
Yeah. Thanks. One thing I would look for in tea is just make sure it doesn't have added sugar or colorings or anything because sometimes they sneak that in there. So that would be something not okay. If you want to eat something sweet, eat something that you want to eat, not
choose it, not
not just get it
forced on you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Really good. Barb, it's so important. I know we kind of lean on this. We talk about metabolic health, cardiovascular disease all the time, but I appreciate that in February we talk about it a little bit more because it is serious business. It is the thing that sneaks up on us. Hypertension is a silent killer. You don't necessarily feel terrible when you have heart disease, and so we have to stay on top of it. And all these little things that we do, they add up. It's like consistency to make sure that we're supporting our heart health, because if we don't have our heart health, we don't have really anything. So really good.
And I think it's important to know your family risk, but also to stay up on what's happening in your body as you go through these changes, because women after menopause, that's when we see the risk increase. And we really have to be aware of that because it's scary.
It's scary. I know, quickly I'll tell you, my aunt who's in her 80s, she had gone in because she was having some heart, like some things, and they tested her, and she was supposed to go home and wait for her results. And she went shopping. She went to Macy's or something, and they called her and said, we've seen that you actually have had a mini heart attack, and where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm shopping. Okay, I'll finish what I'm doing and come in.
Oh my God.
But it just shows that you can have a cardiac event and it can be small to the point that you can still go look for whatever purse or something you're looking for, or whatever you're doing. But it's something serious, something really serious can happen as a result of that small thing. So we have to take all of this really, really seriously into heart.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
All right. Barb, if people want to reach out to you and talk more about their cardiometabolic health, how should they find you?
BarbSobel.com is a great way to, it's my website, and you can reach out to me through there. And then I'm at Barbara Sobel _nutrition on Instagram.
Yes, she's the best, as you can tell. All right, everybody. I hope you're doing something wonderful for yourself tomorrow on Valentine's Day. You're loving yourself, you're loving your heart, you're loving your body, and maybe love somebody else too, but make sure you take care of yourself first. Just saying. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Barb, as always. See everybody soon.
Have a great one.
All right. Be well.
Bye.
Take care.